I'm Kyle Strunk with Club Jiu-Jitsu. This is episode 2 of the Club Jiu-Jitsu podcast.
I'm Michael Richardson, blue belt under Jared Jessup.
Roger Minton, purple belt under Elias Zapata.
Today we're just kind of introducing Roger to everybody, getting your story out there and telling the guys who you are. So it was in 2023 when we met?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 2023 is when we met and started training together.
At 413. Yeah, I remember I had a buddy at work. He was kind of dealing with some stuff. And he needed a positive outlet. And he was always watching UFC and stuff. And I was like, well, why don't we start grappling? Why don't we start going to a gym somewhere and training? So I pulled over, Googled some places. 413 was the first one to pop up. So I called.
There's not a lot in Marion.
No. So I called. Got a free class there to try out. He didn't go. I did.
At least you still showed up.
Yeah. And then shortly later started going to the evening classes. That's where we met.
And we met, yeah. And I just kind of grabbed you because you're the only other big guy and I needed big people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got roped in by default.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember showing up and my friend, he actually went in the evening to get some information on it. And he called me and he's like, dude, there's this big Viking looking guy that trains at night. He looks super scary. So I remember the first time I started going there, you were my first roll. Actually. Yeah. First person that I rolled with. So we started training then. I remember, because I was just doing like the fundamental class. And then I remember Tristan asked me, you had a comp coming up. He said, would you come in? So Roger has somebody to go with. I remember thinking, I know what this is. The new guy, I'm in here getting beat up, but Roger took care of me, and that's when we started training together.
Yeah, I have to take care of you. I'm huge on. I need bodies, obviously, for competitions, and I'm big on if the people around me aren't being made better, how do I become better? Right? Like for me to get better, I have to have better people. So I have to make people around me better. They help me become better, and kind of just keep scaling like that.
Yeah,
and that's Louis Simmons talked a lot about that.
Yeah, if you run with the lame, you develop a limb.
Yeah, because Dave Tate said, like, Lee, we got this guy here, we got to kick him out. He goes, he's not getting better. You train with him, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Bring other people up.
I remember the first time I met Roger was at a Hoyler Gracie seminar. He looked out in the room and he needed a big guy to demonstrate a technique. And out of 100 people, he picked Roger. You, big guy, come here.
I got to hold Hoyler Gracie up by his throat against the wall.
So let's just go back to the beginning. What got you into? Because Roger's lived 1,000 lives already. Probably that's a big reason I want to get him on here. We're going to start doing possibly a weekly or monthly story time with Roger episode 2. That'll be pretty good.
Rogerisms.
It's a Rogerism.
With the Rogerisms,
we're gonna have to go with. But yeah, you've done a lot. You wrestled. You're in the military. You've done catch wrestling. You were a pro fighter for 7 years, and you got a lot of experience under your belt. Where did it all start?
Shit. All started as a kid. My dad was a wrestling coach, so mom's at work, dad's a teacher and coach. Well, so okay, go to wrestling practice because it's cheaper than a babysitter. Mm-hmm. So like I was on wrestling mats before I could walk. So, I got around wrestling very young age, loved wrestling, always loved wrestling. My dad was big. Every year he'd talk to the guys when they first came in, and he'd always explain that wrestling was the last hand-to-hand combat sport left in schools that you could actually do. And it even developed, like we were saying before, like kind of my team mentality on it, because he said it's an individual match for a team goal, because you have the team points, right? Obviously based on how you win or lose to the team goal. So, that always sunk in my head. So I got into wrestling. Yeah, Marion started a kids program when I was in 4th grade. So I've competitively wrestled since the 4th grade in some form. And then, you go into the Army, and I went in the infantry, and we're sitting there at basic, and I guess it was around that time they brought the Gracies in. That's when they created the Modern Army Combatives program, when they brought the Gracies in. It was, kind of incorporating jiu-jitsu into, you're in the street, all hell breaks loose. What happens? And the drill sergeants are like, "Who wrestled in high school?" Go raise your hand. Like, you guys are gonna love this. The rest of you, good luck. And so I was like, "Oh shit, cool." So we're doing pretty much like jujitsu. So I started doing that, and then I actually became certified in combatives. So I taught combatives classes in the Army, and they had a gym downtown owned by a guy named John Rankin in Clarksville, and he fought professionally. He actually fought for Pride. And so I'm like, well, I want to go try this out. Like, I thought about fighting on jiu-jitsu, right? I wrestled. Like, you never want to be on your back in wrestling, but jiu-jitsu, you can be comfortable on your back. So I need to learn this. And my first entrance into learning jiu-jitsu, like actually in the gi, was he had a guy by the name of Elio Sinetka was running the jiu-jitsu there, and Sinetka he's a legend in jiu-jitsu. He's a I think 1996 world champion, 97 Pan American champion. He just got his coral belt a year ago from John Jock Machado. He actually runs his own association out of Louisville now, and man, that was it. Like I was hooked. So when I got out of the Army, got into fighting, I ended up out in Colorado. Ended up then with Alvin the Kid Robinson, fought in the UFC, and so then I'm with him and putting the gi on and all that. So I just got around people, and I asked questions, and they couldn't make me leave. So I just kept learning shit.
Did you take any fights while you were in the military, or was it after the military you really started getting into your fighting career?
No, I was still in the military when I got back from Iraq. That it was. I think I'd had, two or three of my amateur fights I was still in. I hadn't actually gotten out yet.
Okay.
So I tried to get on the Army Combatives team. They had a tournament at Fort Campbell to do it, and I wanted to sign up for it. And my first sergeant told me that I couldn't because I was a liability. Apparently, everybody was mad because at the Week of the Eagles tournament, I back cranked a warrant officer, and he was hurt, so I got in trouble.
that tracks from what I know. Yeah, sure. That's what when I was posting about Roger running class the other night. I almost captioned it like, if you want to learn any mean things to do to your friends, like this is the class to come to with Roger. He'll show you all the mean little dirty tricks you do.
Yeah, that's the catch wrestler in me. Like it's all mean stuff.
Yeah,
it's effective.
So when did you get into catch wrestling?
Man, I always liked it. So catch wrestling, you're talking about kind of dating back to what people refer to as pancration. So you're talking about like the original Greco-Roman wrestling. You start getting into that and pancration. So you could argue that was kind of the original mixed martial arts because you had the wrestling, you had the submission holds. And catch wrestling, I'd say maybe the most famous people here in the States for expanding would be Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson. I got to know Jake Shannon. He trained with Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson. He actually has done a lot to help revive catch wrestling here in the States. But even watching the UFC, the early UFCs, people don't realize that Josh Barnett is a catch wrestler. So here you're talking about a lot of stuff that's in jiu-jitsu, but no gi, and all the submission holds are a go, right? They don't care. Neck cranks, heel hooks, knee bars, back cranks. It's all a go. Like they've never been like, oh, this is off limits. But you also throw like the pins in it. So where guys think of side control and all that, I think of pinning people because in catch wrestling you can still legitimately pin somebody and get a win. So it's been around for a while. It hasn't had maybe the attention drawn to it that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has, right? Because obviously the Gracies like Horion and them created the UFC, and they did it to help put Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the map. That's why they picked Royce actually for the first UFC tournaments. It wasn't because he was the best fighter in the family. It's because he was the small one. So if he won, it would prove that their fighting style was superior to everybody else's. Because, I mean, really, they could have used Henzo or Hickson or any of the other brothers, but they used Royce.
Right. So do they still have catch wrestling competitions?
They still have catch wrestling, yeah. It's gotten slightly bigger. Jake has Shoot Pro Wrestling, which is it's a catch wrestling thing. They haven't had a show in a while, but he just had like a big catch con out in Denver where they had some of the big names. They had Frank Shamrock out there and some other guys. Like I said, he's a Billy Robinson, Carl Gotch student. Him and Josh have actually worked together, Barnett, on a lot of things. They have the Snake Pit is a catch wrestling organization. They have a world championship. Owen Livesey has done it. He actually, him and Josh Barnett, I think they went against each other maybe a year ago for the world championship there at Snake Pit. So that's a thing there. And then it's not widely known, but I know I've got Josh Barnett on Instagram. So like there's usually like a U.S. Nationals even catch wrestling tournament every year, usually in California.
Are there any local opens like IBJJF does or ADCC, anything like that?
No, a lot of those guys, I think they just kind of migrate into ADCC tournaments because the rule set is similar.
CGI, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, Livesey did CGI. He's actually a judo guy, but he's also done catch wrestling and he's done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Really, I asked because I think we should sign Michael up for a catch wrestling.
Hey man, it's fun.
I'm down.
You know, it's just all those weird cranky things that nobody likes or there we go.
Might be something we start training out here. Get a catch wrestling night going.
That's good. I love it. It's a good time. It's all that means stuff. You know, you put your forearms in, and it's all stuff's legal in jiu-jitsu.
So what was the time span you did catch wrestling?
I mean, really, probably most of my life. I always studied it. There wasn't a lot of people to learn from necessarily, like here. Like I grew up here in Marion. Like I mean, I'm here long enough that there wasn't jiu-jitsu here. You know, I mean, like the first guy really to bring jiu-jitsu even around this area would have been Andy Sabin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe 20-ish years ago, and it wasn't. He didn't have a big gym, didn't have a big group. Like it wasn't really a thing here. You know, I was very fortunate to be in Clarksville, Tennessee when I was in the military, and have somebody like Rankin that fought professionally, have somebody like Seneca that was there. I mean, you know, you just walk into a gym, you don't expect a black belt world champion to be teaching class. I mean, you're talking about the guy that beat Megaton Diaz for the world championship. I mean, that's a huge deal in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. You know, and then even out in Colorado, I was real lucky with people I was around. You know, I linked up with Alvin. Alvin was a Hoist Gracie black belt and I actually trained with Hoist like on a regular basis. Like, so it's not like he just came in for a seminar and got a belt. Like he trained with him. He actually has pictures of Elio Gracie at tournaments that he was competing at and winning. So like he was around the family for a long time. But I had him. I was training at Grudge, which is now Genesis. So Trevor Whitman was the head coach there. He's more of a striking coach, but very knowledgeable individual. He still coaches like Justin Gaethje and a lot of those guys from Colorado. And I kind of lucky, like I called the gym and Christina's wife answered and it's like, well, you know, Trevor, he's not here right now. He'll be back. He's filming The Ultimate Fighter for Team Rashad. But, you know, when he comes back, you know, it'll be Tuesday or something, you know, we'll call you and come in. And he actually called me, had me come in and, you know, this guy, world-class, world champion trainer, walked me around the gym, introduced me to everybody. Again, just really good people that, again, they want to make everybody better. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think some of it was sheer dumb luck. Some of it was just linking up with the right people. You know, to this day, Alvin is still one of my closest confidants, and he's living on a farm in Kentucky, and he's barely on social media. But every time I message him with whatever I've got going on in life, he's like, "Yeah, Raj, you can do it. Yeah, do it, Raj. No, dude, you're gonna be a world champion." Like, Alvin, I'm almost 43. No, Raj, you got this, man. You're a killer. And I'm like, all right, brother. I wish I had the faith in me you do. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you know, he's just.
We talked about that the last episode. That's been one of the biggest things for me with this community is just the support system.
Yeah.
Like how close everybody is and just the friends that you make and the positivity and, you know, the, I thought like going into a fight gym, it'd be like a bunch of like over testosterone, ego-driven people, but it's like, that's not the case. And I don't know if it's like taking your lumps and getting beat up when you start out so much or what it is, but it seems like most people's egos are in check that I'm around anyway.
I get humbled on the mat once in a while.
Yeah, you know, you get around a fight gym, but it's like these are the guys you train with. Like if they're hurt, I don't have that person to train with. Mm-hmm. You know, so you do try to take care of them. You don't want them hurt. You know, I remember Shane Carwin was in the UFC. He was UFC heavyweight champ, and I think he fought Gonzaga, and he broke his nose. So obviously he had to be at the gym for a while. But then when it comes back to the gym, it's well, everybody's got to stay away from his nose because right, it's still healing. Right, mm-hmm. It was broke. He had surgery, so. Even getting him back in the gym is real important. Everybody, even your sparring, stay away from his nose, right? You can't take the hits on it. It needs to heal. So, you know, you realize like, oh, We're all in the gym. We're all together. Like somebody once asked me, like, what's it like being an MMA fighter? 3 days a week, your best friends punch you in the face. The other 3 days a week, they're trying to twist your joints in ways that they don't go. That's 6 days a week. What do you do on the seventh day? You sit down and rest, and you contemplate all your life choices that got you there. And then you decide, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this again on Monday. So
now I see the motivation of you checking in on me all the time and trying to get me to not overtrain and regulate. So you got a training partner. I thought it was because he cared about me this whole time.
I do care about you. Look, I told you, I believe you can be a world champion one day. So I'm going to coach you to the level that I think you're capable of. So I'm going to be hard on you. I'm also going to make sure you're okay because you don't need to be broken down. You don't need to risk unnecessary injuries, right? Injuries happen. I'm walking proof of that. Injuries happen in this business. The longer you can stay injury free or the more you can do to mitigate those, the less time you have to stay that you don't have to take off training.
Right.
Because taking off training sucks.
Yeah. And that's kind of, backing off the training is something that's been hard for me. But I like to train. So, there's days I'm out here every day. And then it's kind of hard to even like moderate it as far as how hard you go. When, guys get in here and they're going hard, it's like you want to go hard too. You're not wanting to chill. Yeah. And you can get beat up really easy and kind of get behind the recovery game. That's been a tough one to learn.
Yeah. With you, I don't think your training in here is the issue. With you, it's how much you're going to do when you're lifting or running combined with this. It's like, okay, well, what did you do today? You're this sore. But why'd you do this much? You didn't have to do all that. Right. You could have done you could have done 5 exercises to get the work that you got in 10 and had more energy. And I had that conversation with Allie today, right? Because she competes and it's like, you have to eat. Well, I'm not hungry. I don't care if you're hungry. You have to eat to fuel your workout. You have to eat so your body recovers. You have to eat so you can grow the muscle. Like, this is something totally in your control, but there are going to be times when you're not hungry that you're still going to have to eat for your body to respond the way that you need it to. So like I literally had to have that conversation today. It's like, oh, I'm this much weight. Like, you've dropped too much. Why? Okay, well now your body's feeding off itself. Like, this isn't good. So there's a lot that can go into it, especially when you're talking about trying to be at the highest levels of something, right? There you have to really analyze a lot of micro aspects of your life that most people don't ever think about. So do care about you. But yes, I also have somewhat selfish reasons in it too. Doesn't change how much I care about you.
Competition's a lifestyle. It's everything: the nutrition, the recovery, the training, the strength training. It seems like the more you compete, the more you need to live the entire life of it.
And I think one thing that doesn't get addressed too, it's like when you're on Instagram or you're looking at social media and you just see like these high level guys and they're doing their ice baths and recovery and nutrition and their cycles and stuff. It's like one thing that people don't consider is they're not working full-time jobs too. They're not working class folks. So it's like I've had to learn that even with my job of how to balance that in with recovery, trying to work 50 hours a week and then doing everything on top of it.
Yeah, and some of them are like that. Some guys obviously do. Shane, even his fighting, even as UFC heavyweight champ, he still had his engineering job with the city of Greeley in Colorado. Stipe Miocic still to this day worked his entire UFC career still being a firefighter in Ohio. So I mean, some guys do, some guys don't. Some guys, you talk about like someone like a Cyborg that still competes, right? He has a gym that he runs, and he coaches guys, and then also finding the time for his training, right? There's still a balance there.
How old is he now?
43.
43.
Roca is 45 or 46. Wagner was 45 at the Worlds, at ADCC Worlds, when he took second or third. I think he took second. Lovato was in his 40s. Lovato was in his 40s running a gym, just had twins, and competing on the world stage.
Yeah. It aggravates me when people start whining about how old they are. And it's like, oh, I'm getting older. I got to slow down. It's like, no, you're slowing down. Like, that's what you're getting older because you're slowing down is the issue.
Yeah.
It's, when I got into ultra marathons, there's guys out there 55, 56 years old running 100-mile races. Power lifters. You know, how much was Louis deadlifting when he was 69, 70 years old?
I don't know. I mean, he's 63. He squatted 900 in competition.
Right.
And I mean, he's still in, pushing 70 would rack pull 600, 700, 800 pounds when somebody would challenge him.
You know, there's a guy at work. He was talking about how he played a pickup game of basketball and then just wrecked his body.
Hurt himself.
He's 40 and he's getting old. And it's like, dude, come on, man. It's like we got Roger out here every night, like 40-something years old, rolling with us and like still powerlifting and strength training and doing that type of thing as well. Competing, just was out in Las Vegas and Worlds. And I
tell people all the time because I used to run around the country doing jiu-jitsu, run around the country doing pro wrestling, run around the country doing MMA, and I moved back to the area 10-ish years ago, and every so often I'll still go to a store and I'll bump into somebody I went to school with, right? So they're my age. Oh, Raj, what are you up to? Still running around the country, half crazy, just doing jiu-jitsu now instead of pro wrestling, and it's like, we're getting old. Don't you think you should slow down? Like, no, I feel good when I get up in the morning. I'm good. Like, you guys can live that sedentary lifestyle and be miserable. I'm fine. Like, I hear people now, they're like, oh man, I can feel the cold, my arthritis. And I'm like, just wake up in the morning and go. Like, maybe y'all need to just be active.
Do something. Yeah. It's like, what are you eating? What are you doing?
I'm not saying you got to do what I do because that takes a different level of insanity. But like, damn, like put down the McDonald's cheeseburger.
Right.
Go do something. I don't care. Don't eat. You don't got powerless. Go do something. Go move.
Yeah.
Somehow.
What's become normal in society is crazy to me because I feel like everybody kind of judges their life off of like, well, when I'm this age, this is kind of the stage to do whatever they've seen go before them.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they kind of judge their life off what they've seen from everyone else. And it's like, why don't you live your life as an individual and do like what your soul is wanting to do and like follow that path rather than looking to everybody around you to establish yourself.
I'm big one. C.T. Fletcher says that. I'm not going to let anybody else dictate my limitations. You don't get to say what I can or can't do.
Right.
I will decide what my limitations are. I'm going to run this till the wheels fall off. One day the wheels are going to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. Right. Yeah. I've made that piece of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. At some point it's going to break.
It won't happen from inactivity.
Right. It's going to happen from activity. Right. I'm hooked on that white whale. Yeah. I ain't going anywhere, right? I'm going down with this ship. I'm going to die doing this. I'm good with that. But I'd rather live that life than just watch other people live a life.
Right.
And like you said, I don't know, man, I've lived 3-4 lifetimes, I guess, depending on most people's thought process. I ain't trading it. I'm not trading the bumps and the bruises. I'm not trading the torn muscles. I'm not trading. I have a lot of broken bones. I drink enough milk, but I'm not trading any of that. Even some of the hardships, even relationship stuff I've gone through. Like I'm not trading any of it because in my life right now, I'm in a pretty good place. All of that is what got me here.
Right.
I ain't trading any of that, and then lose all those experiences. No. And I live a life now, right? I've got 2 kids doing jiu-jitsu with me. Out of all my kids, I've seen a lot of my kids grow up, do stuff. Obviously, I still have one that's young, that's 11. And she thinks she wants to do jiu-jitsu, but we couldn't get her to sit still. She'd be like standing her head in the corner trying to climb a wall. You've seen her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day she'll slow down.
She needs to do jiu-jitsu.
Maybe one day she'll slow down, but I live a life that I love, and I go places, whether it's the military, whether it's MMA, whether it's jiu-jitsu, I get to travel.
Right.
I go here, I go there. I've been to Colorado. I've been to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Las Vegas. I'm the only person in the world I think has been to Las Vegas 3 times. I still have never gambled. And I've still never gone to the strip. I go to the hotel. I go to the convention center for the jiu-jitsu. I go back to the hotel. I'm boring. Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. I don't even know where else. North Carolina. I've been all over. Even when I was fighting MMA, like the card fell through, but had an offer and a chance to go to Japan. Card fell through, didn't get to go, but that offer was still there. That was still an opportunity. Who gets those opportunities all the time?
People would say yes.
Yeah, my buddy Jonathan Ivey is a professional fighter, and I love the guy, and he's crazy. I can't remember what his record is at now. It's not an over the top record, but he's had like 150 MMA fights, and Dude, fighters fight. Like he'd take fights on a day notice, 6 days notice, a week's notice, month. He didn't care. Fighters fight,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all he did his entire adult life was be a fighter, and it's like, and he's impacted. He's taking care of himself. He's taking care of his daughter, but he's also impacted a lot of people's lives that train with him, that he helped. I think he's probably even helped people he doesn't know he's helped. I don't think he ever fight in the UFC. No, but I guarantee you, if you ask him if he has any regrets on how he did his life, I bet he says no. Because he's lived a life and just kept going. He's just now retired, like officially from MMA. But I mean, he's done MMA.
How old is he?
I don't know. He's older than me. But I mean, he's still going to be active. Like he's still going to lift weights. But I mean, like he's done
train.
He's done MMA. He's fought a who's who of guys from Rico Rodriguez to Ken Shamrock to Travis Wolf. If none of you know who Travis Wolf is, Google it. God, he's done bare knuckle boxing, has done bare knuckle MMA. He's done the Valley Tudo tournaments. Like he's been to Argentina and Brazil and Japan. It's like
that's pretty cool.
That's living.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not sitting around the couch eating potato chips and, oh man, I could have done that. No, you couldn't, because that's a rough life.
Yeah. No, it leads to a lot of cool experiences for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even since we started training together, hit up, local tournaments around here in Nashville. We've been to Indy already. We're going back to Indy this weekend.
Yeah.
To Memphis. We got Chicago on the horizon. We've been up to Iowa City.
You're thinking about Jiu-Jitsu Con in Vegas this year?
Actually, I got the days off for that, so that's something y'all need to get together and like get a trip out there, go out there and compete. Check that out. Yeah. I mean, even this weekend, we got a pretty busy weekend, like as far as the gym's concerned. We've got me, Allie, and Colton competing in Indy. Allie's doing no-gi and gi.
No, she's doing no-gi. She's going to do gi and no-gi in Chicago.
Okay, so she's just doing no-gi.
She loves her no-gi, man.
Yeah, she does. I'm jealous. One day.
And then what? We got Elias out in Seattle.
Seattle.
Three or four people.
I don't know how many there is, but it's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, because there's grappling and I think MMA.
MMA fights tonight, and then grappling competitions tomorrow.
So we've got
2 people they tagged in this.
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
So I mean,
and they got a crew out there too. They're posting pictures of the Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly.
Hanging out and stuff. He was actually going to try to fly from Seattle to Indianapolis so he could catch us on Sunday.
Yeah, offer us just to drive back Sunday night.
Man, that's a lot more weekend. Why don't we just do Chicago together?
We got this, boss.
Yeah. So, no, it does keep you active for sure. Keeps you out doing stuff.
I mean, like I said, I don't know why I don't understand I don't understand the sedentary. I understand not everybody travel all the time, right? You got stuff, but man, just be active. I don't care. I don't care if you go to the gym. I don't care if you go do jiu-jitsu. Man, I don't care if you go do Tai Chi. Be active.
Do something.
Something.
That's what, I don't remember who I was talking to. I don't know if it was you or you, Jordan, somebody, but I was talking to the other day and I was like, it's weird to me that we go work these jobs we hate all day, making other people money, doing monotonous stuff, drive home and sit on the couch and watch this box where other people pretend to live lives. And we're using our life watching people pretend to live. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, does nobody see what's going on here? Maybe let's break out of the matrix and get back to reality. Touch something real. Yes. Yes. And I've been that person. I've got caught up in that. I got caught up in comfort and just doing things like that. And life is just so much better on the move, experiencing things. Doing things, meeting people, building relationships, not staying static. And that's something that I think martial arts offers for sure. Just like the life that you've talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I go places, and I always seems like I always end up knowing somebody. Like we went to Memphis. And I know some of the refs at this point because competing enough for the guy that's doing photography. Like, what are you doing photography, bro? Like, you're not media. You run the mats and you're a ref. He's like, they needed a guy, so I'm taking pictures. And it's like, I've been around enough that I usually bump into guys I know at the tournaments, or I've competed against them, or we've been around and we talked. And it can be a small world. I was talking to somebody at Nashville, and we'd been in the same part of the world in the military. And it's like, man, it's just weird. It's a weird world.
Yeah.
You just run into people.
A dude on the street in Memphis that was trying to
The guy was pro wrestler. It's like, bro, I'm a worker. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do this. No, man, we out. But that's the way it goes sometimes. That's I was deployed in the Army in Ramadi, and it's Battle of Ramadi, and I was in the 506 and the SEAL Team 3s there, and you don't think anything of it. We're just doing missions together and blah blah blah, and and we're doing missions with guys, and now two of those guys are really famous because Chris Kyle is unfortunately not with us anymore, but everybody knows who that is. But that's the guy we're doing missions with. Didn't even know. Jocko Willenick was there. We're doing missions with Jocko Willenick, and I was like, I know that guy. I saw him on the news, like, because he wrote a book and he writes children's books and does jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, I just knew him as one of the guys on SEAL Team 3, and it's like, shit, it's a small world. Like, this is the way, it blows my mind sometimes. And I told somebody, I didn't even know about it. I think my mom has a job, and her boss wanted everybody to read Jocko's book. And, Extreme Leadership. And she's telling me about it and all this really nice stuff that he said about us in the book about the 506. And I'm like, I didn't even know. Like, we're just doing missions and trying not to die, like, I don't think anything about it. And then I ended up seeing one of his podcasts and stuff he said about us. I'm like, oh, okay, shit, man, we were some good soldiers. Like, we did some shit over there because, like, this dude is really propping us up. I'm like, all right, cool. Wouldn't have guessed that's how the dude felt about us.
How long were you over there?
It was a year. Battle of Ramadi was a solid year. Yeah, it was 05 to 06. So I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was Wild West over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I still have mixed feelings about it because now other people have left and let it go to crap. So all the crap we did, they let it go by the wayside. So sometimes I get a little angry. So
yeah,
I try not to think about it too much. I blame certain administrations for that. So
what year did you get out of the military?
I got out in 09. Yeah. I loved the military. I thought it was great. I was in the infantry. I loved the job. It sucked when you're not deployed because you don't have a normal job like everybody else. Like infantry guys are like, you shoot guns and shit. So.
Right.
Like medics can go work at the hospital and mechanics can go work on trucks in the motor pool, and like we just have to find stuff to do because if somebody sees you and you don't have anything to do, they will find things for you to do. So, but man, I got out like it. Obama was president. People start changing rules of engagement, and like, man, it's gonna get us killed. Like, I can't stay in this. I'm not letting you guys kill me or have to watch my friends be killed. So, I unfortunately have a very rigid philosophy on war. There's two ways to fight a war. You kill everything because you're never coming back, or you don't blow up everything because you're never going to leave. Everything else I think is crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very hard line on that. Some people might like that, some people don't. But what's human history? Few millennia. The only two ways a war's ever won and stayed that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only two ways I've seen that work.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like, I can't. I'm not sticking around here for me to get killed to make you look good in some news line here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd see that being a hard situation for sure. And people that's never been in that situation, they don't really know what they would think or how they would react.
And that's some of my buddies have stayed in, and man, like I know a few of them have stayed in, got like high ranks, have retired, and I think that's great. I'm happy they stayed in. I thought, everybody I was deployed with, I thought were really good, soldiers and leaders. So see, some of them have had a lot of success. Actually, one of our squad leaders, he was command sergeant major for Fort Jackson. So like he was literally the highest ranking NCO of the entire base. And it's like, oh shit, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So for the guys that stayed in and did stuff and retired, man, I'm thrilled for them. I'm happy that they did that. I'm happy they were there because they know what it's like being lower enlisted and how crap can go. So it makes them, better leaders.
Yeah. Not too far removed from the situation.
No.
So you got out in 09. Did you go straight out to Colorado from there?
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, I was in Illinois for a little bit, and then I was searching stuff out, and like I said, I made some calls and had some opportunities. I had some family living out in Colorado, so I'm like, I'll go out there. And yeah, like I said, I called Trevor, and I was out there for a while, and then I left Grudge, and I ended up at American Top Team Altitude, which was Bobby Lashley's American Top Team affiliate. So then I spent like 4 years training with Lashley every day. So I got a crash course on how a different caliber of athlete lifts and works, because he was also in the military, but he was on the Army wrestling team. Like he was like an Olympic hopeful.
Okay.
Before he had an injury, and man, people that big shouldn't move that fast. Like God, he's fast.
That's why I think when you cartwheel past me.
Yeah, but like, dude, like he could shoot. I'd sprawl, and he could pop up and reshoot like so fast. Like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't keep up with him. Like if he shot and I sprawled hard, that race to get back up to stop the next shot was hard. Like I mean, he is a freak athlete. I remember once we were doing some wall wrestling, and I got off the wall and I turned to him. I'm like, I'm gonna put his ass in the wall, revenge. And he threw me, and my ass hit the wall in the air. And then we hit the mat, and he starts laughing. Forgot about the lateral drop, didn't you? Yeah, yeah, I did. Hate you.
Won't forget it now.
I didn't either. I remember that loud. Everybody tried to hit me with it after that, and I just smashed them.
But how many fights did you have out of there when you were out in Colorado?
I don't know. Amateur and pro combined, I think I had 20 fights. 20, yeah. Yeah, and amateur career went really good. Pro career didn't go as good, but I wasn't dealing with issues I had in the military. I did not have good people. I had great people in the gym. I did not have good people around me outside of it. So the lack of success I had in my pro fighting career, I really it wasn't a lack of talent. It was a lack of keeping the right people around me, which I take full responsibility for. Which is why my circle nowadays is extremely small. I only keep certain people around me, because if you're not going to add to and enhance my life, I don't need you around.
Yeah,
you know. You can say I've kind of very much taken like a Louis Simmons thought process to things.
Yeah.
You know, you're not good. You go over here. I don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
My life it'll go on. You know. So, but yeah, man. I mean, like 20 times I was in the cage and got paid and had fun, and you know, it was a good time. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't have any terrible severe injuries from MMA, so you know, I was fairly lucky. Actually, I think the worst injury I ever had was in a pro wrestling ring, and it wasn't even during a match, because it was before the show, and we were doing a seminar because Tommaso Ciampa, who works for WWE, was there, and I turned, and my femur came out of socket.
I saw the picture of that the other day.
It's gross, right?
Yes, yeah. It was terrible.
Yeah, that femur came out, and it's like, oh, that's not good.
Then I was training the next day.
I didn't train the next day.
How did you get your rotator cuff to not hurt for you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
My knee didn't hurt, because you even say, like, I bet he wasn't even hurting. And the picture, I got 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. There's something wrong there. There's something wrong.
Well, obviously, I had some ligament damage before. Jumping out of planes at 200 plus pounds isn't great in the military or repair helicopters. So obviously, I had some kind of ligament damage that I was completely unaware of, because apparently I just tear things and don't realize it.
So how long did it take to come back from that?
Let me think. I don't even think it was a year. I had the surgery in September of 2015, and I feel like I was back in a pro wrestling ring within a year.
That's pretty impressive, yeah.
And that was
like some guys would let that in their career, be done with it.
I remember the doc told me, so the ACL, the MCL, and PCL were all gone. So they're cadaver ligaments that they put in there to hold the knee together. And he's like, what are you going to get back to? I'm like, pro wrestling, powerlifting, jiu-jitsu. He's like, I don't get you all that, but we'll see what we can do. I've pulled 600 in competition in powerlifting. I have literally been all over the world for professional wrestling, even working national television working for Al Snow for OVW for over a year. You can actually see me on Netflix in the Wrestlers documentary.
What
Wrestlers. It's literally the name of it. Yeah.
Wrestlers.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah. I plug the LVW guys. I love them. I love Al Snow. Working for him is fun. He actually is an old school MMA guy. If you go back and look at the old UFCs, he is one of Dan Severn's cornermen.
Okay.
So, love Al. And then obviously I've competed at Master Worlds. I've done Nogi Worlds 2 years now. I've placed third at Nogi Worlds and Nogi Pans. I don't know how many IBJJF Opens I've won, especially in Nogi. Actually, I don't think until September last year, I'd never even lost a Nogi match in an Open, and when I lost in the finals to points. I've won the ADCC Denver Open. I took second at the Chicago ADCC Open. My knee never hurts. I never wake up swollen. It's never, oh my God, what did I do the day before?
You hearing this? You hearing this? There's hope.
I'm getting inspired.
There's hope. Yeah,
Something that I'm catching from this is you as being a competitor. I've only been doing this for 4 years, so.
Do that here, Michael, so we can hear you.
Yeah, but as you're competing, it seems like the life of a competitor is more what he's doing outside the gym than what he's doing inside the gym. Now we're all hobbyists, and we're doing stuff inside the gym. But like you said, in your pro MMA career, it's really important what you're doing on the outside and who you're around and the things you're doing outside the gym too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You guys are the only guys I'm around outside the gym too. So
yeah, but I mean, inside the gym, you take your 24 hours in a day. What you do inside the gym is maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 hours, right? Including weightlifting, maybe 4 hours out of the day. We do the other 20, right? What are you filling your day with? Who are you filling your day with? Are they adding stress? Are they taking stress away? What are you eating? Right? All these things matter. Sleep is huge.
That's a big one.
Now having the right people in the gym, massively important. Right, having the right people, having good people around you. Not everybody's Mikey Mooch Smechi and training and studying jiu-jitsu like 15 hours out of the day. And I'm not saying he's good. Okay, I'm not saying he's not, but there are people that are very high level that they're not doing it 15 hours out of their day.
Right.
You still got to eat, and even the guys that do it that much, you still got to eat. I know people laugh because he's a little guy and he eats pizza all the time. But I mean, look how much energy he's exerting in a day in training, and he needs to eat. So
7,000 calories.
Right,
to keep up with
for his body to fuel itself, for his body to recover, for his body to grow muscle. Right, he might have to eat that. That's why he probably still looks the way he does, even though he eats pizza every day. It's because of the amount of work he put in. I've seen a guy, I think J.M. Blakely, I saw talking about it, and he's like, everybody eats. Some people eat, and they eat enough to fuel the workout. Some people eat enough to fuel the workout and then actually recover from it. Some people, very few, will eat enough in a day to fuel the workout, to recover from it, and actually grow muscle. It is hard to do all those if you don't do the right things.
I eat enough to fuel the workout, recover from the workout,
Debatable.
lose muscle, put on body fat, and my cortisol levels go through the roof.
Well,
and sleep becomes an issue, and then my girlfriend gets mad if I'm
we'll have a whole
in mood.
Yeah, we'll have a whole talk about stress off camera. But I mean, but it's hard, And then if you try to eat the right way, that can be really hard because when you eat right, you're not talking about foods loaded in calories, but you're also not talking about foods loaded in crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you've been to the military. You started off wrestling. You've been to the military.
Yeah.
MMA fighting out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
America Top Team. Done catch wrestling. Now you're here doing jiu-jitsu. So kind of tell us where you're at now. What's going on with you right now? What's on the horizon? Like, what's some of your goals?
Well, what's on the horizon right now is apparently I'm a freak and I tear things and don't know about it. So I have to have surgery because apparently we have to reattach my rotator cuff to the bone and we have to move my bicep tendon over and we have to attach this pec to the bone because somehow I tore.
Now listen to what he's saying.
Show him why it's an apparently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I can do all this.
Yeah. So all this is going on. All this is going
And
on.
I can roll rounds with you.
And I'm in here one day, and we're all training, and Roger walks up to me. And I said, "What are you doing, Roger? Let's go." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Let's go." Yeah, let's roll. I'm like, "You got a torn rotator cuff and a pec.
It can't
like,
tear anymore. It's already torn.
Yeah, well, they're going to do surgery and fix it anyway. I might as well train until then."
Yeah.
And that's what he's been doing. I avoided him that day, but that's what he's been doing.
Elias will not roll with me.
No, I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. Because then I still get beat, and it's embarrassing. I tried to omoplata that shoulder, and I still got stuffed.
Yeah, Elias, like that's fine, Rod. You can roll. I'm just not gonna appease your crap. Like, you're supposed to be my coach. You're supposed to help.
He's the only reasonable one around this place.
That's frightening. But so I got to get that fixed. So luckily the recovery apparently is only 3 to 6 months. So wonders of medicine now. So obviously winter and spring are out for me, but obviously I have taken care of you guys. I've coached you guys, so I'll still be in here. I guess I'll look like Danaher for a while, and I'll just have one of you guys, and I'll say what to do to coach the moves, so you guys do them, because I'll just sit here like this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Selfishly, I've progressed in my jiu-jitsu lately because you've been hurt. Usually, you're rolling and doing stuff and working your own game, but now that you've been hurt, you're watching me and yelling at me the whole time, and it's making me make some adjustments and learning some.
So I lean into my coaching right now, which I feel like keeps me sane, except for when you move the wrong way.
The other way.
I didn't know how condescending I was to that video.
I caught myself yelling at Colton last night about something. I'm like, Roger's rubbing off. Like, I'm picking up this coaching style.
I'm infectious, yeah. I got it from my dad. But so I have that. But I'll heal up. I'll do the rehab. Earliest compete maybe July, August. So we'll see. We got another Chicago Open in August. So maybe that's a thing. But I'll heal up. I'll talk to Elias. I'll see what he thinks. Absolute latest, I'll do the Louisville ADCC Open, which I think it'll be fun. I love ADCC Opens. I think they're a great time. Even for the white belts, you can do those because they just break up brackets with belts. You got the white belts, you got blue and purple, you got brown and black. And even in there, they have like beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert, whatever. There's something for everybody there, and it's a different rule set. It's fun rules, and it's no-gi, right? Because IBJJF white belts still can't do no-gi. And maybe we get Aiden ready by that time.
Yeah,
he'd be ready. I think he'd have fun with that. So at the absolute latest do that. Plus, I love Louisville. That's where I wrestled for OVW. That's where they're at. Sonetka's gym out there is the core, and I'm friends with some of those guys out there, so I'm hoping to see them there. Because they're all good guys, So yeah, at the latest, I'll do that one, and then see how everything's feeling. Maybe still do no-gi pans and no-gi worlds, because I theory I'll be healed by then.
Yeah.
And who knows? Who knows how long this thing's been torn? I might be a monster.
Well, he didn't feel like he had injury. Probably in recovery time, just giving to man will probably be way less.
Look,
he just doesn't need a rotator cuff.
Apparently not. The only thing it limits me on is being able to do a duck under on that side. But I go to the left side. I still hit the lateral drop with it. So
yeah,
But I'm gonna listen to the doctor because he told me like, look, it'll be a short recovery, but I'm gonna need you to take the foot off the throttle. Like, all right, cool. And I've already talked to Elias. We're gonna find things I can do. I might
leg locker.
Yeah, I might be doing a lot of. I'm just gonna do a lot of leg pummeling. It's gonna suck for you guys. I'm just gonna float past everybody. But
I think I'd prefer that to your pressure.
So get healed up, got tournaments on it because I'm not stopping doing tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing those.
These tournaments have been a lot of fun. I try to get everybody I know to do it, whether it's from Club Jiu-Jitsu or every school in the area. I try to get everybody.
I mean, it's good. It's good. And like, you've been around a couple with me now, and you see the community. You see how many guys I run into, I talk to, I know.
Yeah.
I think every time we go to Nashville, I've got at least 2 or 3 guys that say, "Hey, Roger, you come down early, man. Just come get an open mat or come train with us, or
Mm-hmm.
and just because like they're there, that's like I think it was Nogi Worlds. I bumped into to Heath to Pedigo, and I see all those guys a lot of tournaments and talk to him or say hi. I didn't know he recognized me, and he kind of stopped me, and we talked for a little bit. And I'd talk to him, and like, man, I keep meaning to try to get up to Mount Vernon, but I'm 45 minutes away. I got 4 kids, and he's like, all right, anytime you want to come up, man, you're welcome. And if like anytime you're at a tournament, you need something, you let us know if you need something. We're here for you. And I'm like, didn't have to offer that,
right.
but to know that there's, it's even though the jiu-jitsu community is getting bigger, it's still kind of a small community where like you still have guys that are willing to help out or look out for each other.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a sense of community that you don't get everywhere else nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, real world, everybody's too worried about being divisive. At least in this community, still people that try to help out and work with each other.
Yeah, for sure. Every time we leave a jiu-jitsu competition, I feel like I've got new friends on social media that I've met there that stay in touch with and check in on them from time to time. It is a good community. It really is. And they're mostly guys I've competed against.
Yeah. It's always guys I competed against.
Hang out. Yeah. I actually, when we were in Iowa City, my first match, he went single leg X and swept me. And luckily I got out. He almost footlocked me like in the first 10 seconds of the match. We ended up, he made it back because it was double elimination.
Yeah.
He made it back to the final match with me. And before the final match with me, he was showing me his single leg X and the leg lock, from there. We were about to compete again, but he didn't care. He's just sharing what he knows.
Hey, man, if I know it, even if you know it, if you stop it, then I did something.
Mm-hmm.
There was something in my technique that wasn't right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's always something to work on this. I mean, shoot, 42. I've got almost 30 years of grappling, and there's still new things I find to work on or use, or there's a new technique that comes out, or every time I never think I've got it all figured out. So luckily I'm smart enough not to be that guy. Socrates, I'm smart enough to know stuff I don't know.
Right.
So but there's always something, like it's kind of what I like about jiu-jitsu is there's really not a whole lot of mastering because there's always something. There's always something new, or somebody's got a different technique, or somebody's got a different twist on it. That's also what I like about jiu-jitsu. Nobody's jiu-jitsu is the same, right? My jiu-jitsu is not the same as yours or Michael's or or Ali. It's not the same. And for big guys, there's some things that we naturally it's difficult for us to do. And there's some things that people can do that we can't. I'm fortunate in the fact like I can invert. Not a lot of 280-pound guys inverting, but then at the same time, the space I need sometimes to get a leg out to do a sweep or something is different than somebody else's because, I'm longer and I'm bigger and this space is different. Okay, I got to modify this. I need to move my hip a little bit more, So it's kind of nice, right? It's not this like weird cookie cutter thing, like you don't fit into this, you don't belong. Like no, we just modify this.
Right. That's what I like about being under Elias and you and training with Sean over at Thompson's.
Yeah.
And when Drysdale did the seminar, there at Foundation, was getting to train with other big guys and seeing how they tweak things to make it work because it matters, with different body types.
And Drysdale, you're talking about like. He's done it on the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about an ADCC absolute champion, I think multiple time IBJJF world champion. He's done gi and no gi. And that's not a small dude.
Right. Yeah.
Like
that's a big guy.
That is a big, dense dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's also undefeated in MMA. Did you know that?
Yeah. Did he fight light heavy?
No, he fought middleweight. Okay. He cut to 185.
Pretty impressive.
That's a strong area.
I want to know what weight he was cutting from because he's a big dude.
That's a high pool right there.
But I mean, and he's extremely talented. I mean, like if you look at a list of students, I mean, it's a who's who of the MMA world has gone to him to get better at their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then obviously, him and Frank Mir have worked together a lot throughout the years to where, he helps coach Frank's daughter, Bella. So like, that being Nogi Worlds, watching her compete at blue belt, and she's wrestling here. She was at Iowa, but she's wrestling here, I think, at North Central College. It's in Naperville. It's college. She's wrestling for them.
Yeah.
But, you watching the tournament and you see, like, it's her dad, who's a former UFC champion and black belt, and Drysdale, that's her corner, and it's like
That's tough.
that is a really intimidating corner.
Yeah.
You know, like she is in really good hands.
And talking about like cornering and stuff too, that's an aspect that I've come to learn, that there's like different roles in the community too. Like, you know, with you being hurt right now, you just transferred over to coaching.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like we had Eli out from Sabins, purple belt, and he talked about, he corners, you know, all the guys that fight over there. And, you know, he talked about his role doing that. Like it takes something special to be able to just like watch and see and cue and coach and do things like that. It's like, there's kind of a role for everybody. It's like you don't want to, maybe you don't want to get into competing, but it's like you can help the guys get ready for competing, or, you know, you could be there for support and coaching, having nutrition ready. You know what it is. There's always a role there.
And I love coaching, but coaching is emotionally and mentally draining. Like I get more worn out coaching than I do competing because I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I'm stuck behind a cage, behind a barrier, right? Because I've had buddies I've even cornered in cage fights and kickboxing matches, and I'm just stuck.
Yeah.
All I can do is yell, and I yell a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I am emotionally involved, right? Because I train with you guys and I care about you and I want you guys to do good and I want you to be safe, obviously. And it's like all I can do is yell. Like that's all I can do. I'm just stuck at this barrier, losing my damn mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
especially when they're not doing what they're told.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
I think what's helpful when you are coaching us too, though, I think it intimidates the other coaches. When they see Roger. So when Roger's screaming at us, they're just like, my guy's on his own. Yeah. He's on his own today.
I start staring some people down. That's what I should do. I'm not staring down Cyborg if he's coaching.
There's a couple that you don't want to stare down.
Look, I'll take the fight. I'm not saying how if I'd win or lose. And I'll give him everything I have. I don't know how a fight's going to end. I'm not going to back down, but I'm not going to pick the fight if I don't have to. Now, if we're, you know, we throw some money on the line. Okay, now I'm going to pick the fight. We're going. You don't sign a super fight. Let's do this.
It might get our YouTube channel to grow. Call him out, Roger. Call him out. Cyborg. He wants to fight you.
I did not mouth the Gracie.
No.
The best guys in the world, man, I'd love to compete against them. I have the most respect for all of them. In all honesty, I've gotten a chance to meet Cyborg at tournaments, and he is fun to talk to. He's a good dude, and he's a hell of a competitor. But, you know, in all honesty, if I ever get a chance to compete against those guys, like, cool, like, you're getting everything I got. I don't know, however long this fight lasts, you're just going to be a fight, you know. I would love to compete against the best, absolute best in the world. But, you know, I respect a lot of things they do because I know the hard work that they've done to get to where they're at, you know.
It is a lot.
And some of those guys, I mean, you know, like Lovato, Cyborg, Wagner, like, still doing it, you know, at the ages they're at. I mean, like, you know, Wagner's older than I am, you know, and still qualifying for ADCC Worlds and placing.
Yeah.
You know, it's impressive. And he wasn't doing it at like some easy weight, you know. Not that any of those weights are easy, you know, but, you know, I you know, hopefully maybe it's a super fight and we both get paid for it as opposed to having to do it for free, but whatever happens, it happens.
I think we could try to make that happen. We'll just a lot of trash talk.
Get a contract, get it ready.
Yeah, exactly. We'll bring back my pro wrestling days. We'll make some kind of weird storyline.
I'll paint some fantasy art. All the
Yes.
There you go.
Propaganda we can make from it.
No, it's I mean, you've had a long journey, like you said, 30 years of grappling experience, the fight world, and everything. I couldn't imagine the stories and the experiences you have. I mean, I've just been doing it for 2 years now. I got into it late. I was 34 when I started.
Man, I got some goofy ones.
Yeah,
I got some funny ones. I've seen some weird shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a long time.
A lot of doors should have closed.
Hey man, you ain't lived till you're sitting there trying to film a cinematic segment for a pro wrestling show the segment's going to take 15 minutes. We're on hour 3 of filming, and you're sitting with Al Snow. Why are we still doing this? Why am I still in this business? Because, boss, you made money at it. That's why we're here. And it's just like, God.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
You can
We'll-
do plugs.
We'll have Roger's Roger's story time coming up. So we got to save some of that for Roger's story time. But
It'll end up being like a whole Jim Cornette thing. Just let me go off on rants. I'll bury everybody.
Rogerisms.
Start
writing
writing
them on the
YouTube
wall.
shorts, really.
yeah,
That's a great.
Yes.
We're gonna chart that. That's gonna happen. All right.
that is something we're looking to
We
do.
can post that in the description.
Yeah.
As well.
And that's something we're looking to do too. We still got to talk about it. So maybe
2
it's
minutes.
too early to talk about it on here. But it's starting a nonprofit for the gym to try to do some more in the community. So that way, when people donate, it could be a tax write-off for them, whatever, and they know that their money's going to good stuff that we're going to do in the community and trying to get people trained up and different things.
You concentrate on that. I'm going to deal with coaching. I don't want to see all that paperwork. Just tell me what I need to sign.
That's fine.
Just tell me what I need to sign.
That's fine.
I'll read it.
That works. That works. You're part of providing the atmosphere and coaching and teaching. So
Every bee knows its job.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Atmosphere. I provide an ambiance.
You don't know that word.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Look, I am well read. I've read books.
I'm out.
That word don't know you. That's